something smacked me. I'm guessing it was the Ruach, and said, hold it, stop, time out right there. So we see here that hearing the voice of the living Elohim, this is sort of my little hypothesis here on my rabbi trail. Hearing the voice of the living Elohim kills the flesh. Did you ever catch that before? He says the word flesh in there twice, and so the idea to me is it says that it's hearing the voice of the living Elohim is what kills the flesh. And they said, we are flesh, we can't hear that voice. You hear that voice, and then you tell us what you heard, because the voice kills the flesh. Now hold your place here in Deuteronomy and go to John chapter 3, beginning in verse 3. Yeshua answered and said to him, truly, truly, he's talking to Nicodemus here. He says, truly, truly, I say to you, unless one is born from above, he is unable to see the kingdom or perceive or know the kingdom or the reign of Elohim. And Nicodemus says to him, how is a man able to be born when he is old? Is he able to enter into his mother's womb a second time and be born? And Yeshua said, truly, truly, I say to you, unless one is born of water and spirit, he is unable to enter into the reign of Elohim. That which has been born of the flesh is flesh, and that which has been born of the Spirit is spirit. So you have that going on in here. So remember, what we talked about as the hypothesis is that the word of Elohim kills the flesh. And so part of what he's talking to Nicodemus about is this transformation that's not as mystical, magical as we maybe have been taught in the past, has a lot to do with our listening and doing, our shema, or lishmo, our hearing and doing of the word kills the flesh. No one is able to come to me unless the Father who sent me draws him, and I shall raise him up in the last day. Please embrace John 6:44, everyone, when you want to try to convince everybody that you know that they're wrong and you're right. You can't draw them. He has to draw them. So until he's drawing them, you're not going to penetrate that brick wall that you're trying to penetrate. What you can do is what Sherry talked about during the prayer time, which is you can plant seeds that may bear fruit later, but realize all you're doing is laying a bunch of seeds out there. Don't get frustrated that you can't punch through the wall. Okay? Because when Abba draws them, there won't be any need to punch through, because Abba's already doing the punching through. And Yeshua said to the 12, do you also wish to go away? And now Kepha gets it. He goes, Kepha says, Master, to whom shall we go? Listen now. You possess words of everlasting life. And we have believed and we know that you are the Messiah, the Son of the living Elohim. So it's now connecting it all back to the words of life. And what are the words of life? That which was given from Yeshua as Yahweh at the mountain called the Torah. The words that lead to life. All that I was talking about previously about the flesh needing to die, all of that in John 3, all of that in John 6, all leads to verse 29 here in Deuteronomy 5, which is Yahweh's cry that you would have such a heart in you to fear him. Again, guarding and doing the commandments is so that it might be well with you. Now, we've already heard that a few times here. When we said, oh, that they had such a heart in them to fear me. Why? So that it might be well with them. Of course, Yahweh was just wasting his breath here because he really didn't mean any of this, because after all, these terrible burdensome commandments are not good for you. How does anybody ever get that if they read this? These commandments that they're all thinking were done away with and that are terrible for you are always worded as so that it will be well with you. They are so that you can have blessing, so that it will be good. They're here for, it's just, you got to scratch your head and just wonder. I'm not here to pull any punches. All of you are doing this still in some area of your life. You're not doing what he said. You're doing what you want to do, and you're not trusting. So you're going out and you know what? I got to take care of me. Really? How's that been working for the last 20, 30, 50, 60 years? And you still want to try? You haven't gotten the message yet that doesn't work? He says, see, I am standing before you there on the rock in Horeb, and you shall smite the rock, and the water shall come out of it, and the people shall drink. And Moses did so before the eyes of the elders of Israel, and he called the name of the place Massa and Meribah, because of the strife of the children of Israel, and because they tried Yahweh, saying, is Yahweh in our midst or not? See what they were trying? They were testing to say, well, is Yahweh really here? Do we do this? Do you catch yourself doing this? Go back and examine your life and your daily activities and see, are you guilty of the same thing? This is what is being referred to, by the way, in Deuteronomy when it says, do not try Yahweh your Elohim as you tried him in Massah. And what did they do? They were testing and trying to see whether he was in their midst or not. Why would you do that? He tells you he's in your midst. He's already told you, he's already shown, he's already demonstrated to you. Are you going to believe the examples and the witness that's there? The testimony that you have from all the times he's been there? But yet, here we see more grumbling and no fear of Yahweh. Test failed. Another test failed. And of course, a continuation again of the grumbling against the leadership. And Yahweh commanded us to do all these laws, to fear Yahweh your Elohim for our good always, to keep us alive as it is today. That's the whole point to all of this. He said, look, the commandments were there to teach you to fear Yahweh. Why would you fear him? Because you realize that the commandments bless you, they keep you safe, and they change you from what you are into what he is. So therefore you learn to revere him and have awe and wonder and fear. And what you're afraid of is to disappoint him. Because if you disappoint him, then you get the curses. He tells you, don't disappoint me, you'll get the curses. And by disappoint, I mean don't disobey. Because that's the only thing that really disappoints him, when you disobey. He says, I find that highly disappointing. If you would fear him, you wouldn't be afraid of everything else. Because if you feared him, you would also then trust him and believe in him and know him. That's really the key, that relational knowing. If you knew him, you would know how he would take care of you. You would know how he would provide for you. You would know how he would intervene on your behalf. You would know how he would intercede for you in the areas where you need. Oh, you're quick to get on the knees and pray when you have need, but are you quick to obey when you need to obey? Oh, because you want him to go quick. What about you? Are you going just as quick?